a stairlift? What type of stairlift will suit my home? What difference can a stairlift make in my life? Answers to these and many more with this free guide to buying a stairlift. A stairlift can be crucial to you staying independent in your own home. They were invented to make your life easier. And this free practical guide, produced with the help of Acorn Stairlifts, will make it easier for you to choose the one that's right for you. So call now, 1-800-597-8449 for your free copy of your guide to buying a stairlift and have all of your stairlift questions answered today. 1-800-597-8449.
With Custom Ink, you can design custom t-shirts and other great products for every occasion. From the first day of school to game day and everything in between. With the best collection of styles and graphics to choose from, it's easy to go online and create custom t-shirts and more for all of life's events. Get free shipping and on-time delivery, guaranteed. Go to customink.com to get started today.
We believe in rock and roll. We believe in blasting it down the fairway, turning up the heat and the fun. At Del Webb, we believe in life well led, in your own beautiful, smartly designed home, in an active adult community with sushi eaters, artists, thrill seekers, and you. We believe you'll like it here.
Mike and I are both veterans, both served in the Navy. I do outrank my husband, not just being in the military, but at home.
She thinks she's the boss. She only had me by 1 grade. We bought our first home together in 2010.
His family had used another insurance product, but I was like, I've had USAA for a while. Why don't we call and check the rates?
It was an instant savings, and I should have changed a long time ago.
There's no point in looking elsewhere, really. We're the Tennies, and we're USAA members for life.
USAA. Get your insurance quote today. Real stories.
I could feel something in my veins.
Real medical mysteries.
What he sees under the microscope is rare and frightening.
The mailbox had become an instrument of death.
Something's Killing Me. New episode tomorrow night at 9.
Can Bosley regrow your hair?
This is my own growing hair that I can comb, cut, style, do whatever I want with it.
The results I've achieved have been exceptional. This is my real hair. I can do with it whatever I want. This is mine.
Bosley gave me my hair back. I cut this hair. I wash this hair. I mess this hair up if I want to mess this hair up.
I can't explain to you the way that it made me feel to be able to wear my hair down, go out on a date, and have confidence again.
Can Bosley regrow your hair?
This is my hair. This is my hair.
Call or go online for your free, no-obligation self-evaluation kit. Plus, call in the next 6 minutes, and we'll even send you this $250 gift certificate. The information is free, so choose to grow back your own real hair. Choose Bosley. Call now.
This is CNN, the most trusted name in news.
And welcome back to our continuing coverage of Hurricane Irma. I'm in Fort Myers, Florida. It's starting to get a little bit more wind here. Again, just nothing compared to what is to come. But even just that little bit of wind, this little bit of gust that we're getting, already the water is a lot. You're starting to see a little bit of whitecaps on some parts of the water here along the river. Again, they're expecting it could be as much as 10 to 15 feet. A storm surge here. So anybody in any low-lying area here, they've expanded the evacuation zone. I want to go over to Bill Weir, who's over in Key Largo, for the latest on preparations there. Bill?
Hey, Anderson, yeah, same situation here. Between the bands, you'll even get a little bit, it seems like it's clearing up. Gusts will come and go, but it's interesting. Of course, everybody is focused on human life in this storm and then their pets and whatnot, but I know there are countless Floridians thinking about their boat. Right, so let me give you a sense of what a marina is like here at the top of the Keys. This is a big cruiser here called Living the Dream. We actually met the captain. He is riding out the storm here, not on board this boat, but in a stone building nearby to keep an eye on things. But it's interesting to see people come out and make adjustments according to the wind. Right now, they're moored off of this concrete dock here because that's the way the wind is going. They say they're going to have to shift it once it comes around. Get a load of this one here. This boat called the Thither and Yon is owned by a woman named Carol. They call her the queen of this marina. She was telling me this boat was the only one to survive Andrew. Said came over the bridge after that devastating hurricane in 1992, and this was the only one standing. And she saw that as a sign. And now I suppose she's testing the fates once again. On the other side of the harbor, a couple boats have come off of their moorings and they're banging against posts. You can see the lufting sail that is blown loose over there, but this is nothing yet. I mean, the stress test on these lines will certainly come as Irma gets closer and closer. But we're also going to keep tabs on the folks who are staying here. It's an interesting logic they're using, that they didn't have anywhere to go. They no place they'd rather be than next to their home in many cases. They're floating home here. Some of them have pets with them, spouses. We did a Facebook Live with some people. Sometimes more concerned for the pets from those watching than the people who choose to stay here. But it is the calm before the storm right now, and so far all these yachts are staying ship-shape. Anderson?
Yeah, certainly a lot of boats to watch here, also in Centennial Park and all around Florida. We're going to take a short break. Our coverage continues from here in Fort Myers, Key Largo, where Bill Weir is, and all over Florida.
It's resourceful, elusive, shrewd. Cancer is smart. It pushes us. We push back. We even push each other to challenge conventional thinking, find smarter solutions. That's what makes us one of the leaders in precision cancer treatment, forging ahead with technology that wasn't available to cancer patients just a short time ago, like advanced genomic testing, a diagnostic tool that lets us see cancer at the molecular level, then helps us find different ways to target it, and immunotherapy, a treatment that actually makes your immune system smarter, trains it to attack the cancer in your body. This is what we live for, giving our patients compassionate care by offering them more precise and less invasive treatment options than before. That's what makes us Cancer Treatment Centers of America. We're not just fighting cancer anymore, we're outsmarting it. The evolution of cancer care is here.
You have one of the worst cavities I have ever seen. Have a good day.
Aren't you gonna fix it?
Well, I'm not a dentist, I'm a dental monitor.
Why monitor a problem if you don't fix it? LifeLock does more than free credit monitoring to help protect your identity. Join starting at $9.99 a month.
Now you can win $1,000 a day for life from Publishers Clearinghouse.
This is a joke.
It's no joke. It's $1,000 a day, every day, for life. Go to PCH.com and enter. October 13th, you can win $1,000 a day for life.
T-Mobile's Unlimited now includes Netflix on Us. That's right, Netflix on Us. Get 4 unlimited lines for just $40 each, taxes and fees included. And now, Netflix included. So go ahead, binge on Us. Another reason why T-Mobile is America's best unlimited network.
Closed captioning brought to you by Midnight, the drug-free way to get the sleep you need.
Does your sleep aid leave you groggy? Switch to Drug-Free Midnight. It's specially formulated to work with the body's sleep mechanism to promote natural sleep. Try Midnight tonight.
Let's go! Let's go!
Looking good.
Season 10 of Anthony Bourdain Parts Unknown starts Sunday, October 1st at 9 on CNN.
Hi, I'm Ty Pennington. The average person spends 282 minutes on their smartphone every day. But it only takes 60 seconds to find your perfect mortgage with guaranteed rates, easy, intuitive loan finder. Just go to rate.com and answer a series of simple questions about your specific mortgage needs. And the intuitive loan finder's powerful decision engine will generate a customized list of the best loan products at the lowest rates for you. all in less than 60 seconds, and all for free. Guaranteed Rate has helped over 500,000 happy customers find the right mortgage with low rates. And now they've made it even easier. Choosing the right mortgage could save you thousands of dollars. Isn't it worth only a minute of your time to check your options? Whether you're buying or refinancing your home, get a low rate from Guaranteed Rate today. Visit rate.com right now to see how much you could save. Call 1-888-812-5050 or visit rate.com.
I just haven't even wanted to look at my body. Now I feel okay.
This is CNN Breaking News.
And welcome back. I'm Anderson Cooper, live in Fort Myers, Florida, on the west coast of southern Florida. John Berman is standing by in Miami Beach. We're going to go to John shortly for the situation there. Winds just starting to kind of gently pick up here in Fort Myers, but just a hint of what is to come. The monster storm, which is now heading directly for this city, for Naples, Florida, and points south. Even Tampa now further up the coast. Further up here north of Fort Myers. They are expecting a bigger storm surge than they certainly expected just this morning. Evacuation areas now have increased in Fort Myers. It's Zone A and Zone B. We've seen thousands of people going to one particular shelter near Fort Myers. Many of them are still waiting to get in. We're going to check in with our Drew Griffin, who is there in the hour ahead. But first, let's get the latest, most importantly, on where this storm is headed and the size. Allison Chinchar is in the Weather Center. Allison, let's bring us up to date.
Right, Anderson. So we take a look at what we've got for right now. Again, you've got some imagery here where we can see the latest on Irma. Winds right now 125 miles per hour, gusting up to 155 miles per hour. The movement, it's been what we call wobbling, okay, where it's going back and forth between west and north and west and north. The question is, when does it finally start to make that really sharp turn to the north? We focus on the maximum wind gusts. Notice for the most part, it's the western half of Florida where we have our strongest winds. Key West, this will be our peak maximum wind gust around 138 miles per hour. But say up around Fort Myers, 136, even Tampa going to be in the triple digits, right around 116 miles per hour. The track itself will still take it over portions of the Keys and then riding up along the western coast, making a very close call towards Naples, Fort Myers, even into Tampa. So those are going to be the cities of concern going forward in about the next 36 to 48 hours. Here's a look at the forecast radar. So this shows you not just where it's headed, but where some of the heavy rain is going to be as well. When we get to Sunday morning, this is when we really start to see incredibly heavy downpours for cities like Miami, into Fort Myers. Then we push into Sunday afternoon and evening. Now Tampa starting to get some incredibly heavy rainfall. And then the system itself begins to make its way into portions of Georgia and also into South Carolina. Overall rainfall totals, we're talking widespread, 6 to 10 inches of rain, but it could even be slightly higher than that, and especially when you get some of those outer bands where you could end up getting incredibly heavy downpours for several hours at a time. But the rain spreads even farther north. So even states like Alabama, Georgia, and South Carolina could end up picking up, say, 4 to 6 inches of rain. We've noticed the hurricane watches and warnings continue to spread to the north. Hurricane warnings now extending from the northernmost part all the way down through the entire state. And we now have tropical storm watches in effect for portions of South Carolina as well as Georgia. Anderson?
You know, you talk about that turn. Any way to estimate when that turn north might occur? Because obviously, you know, there are tens of thousands of people watching that very closely because it's going to affect exactly where this thing goes.
Right. Likely it will happen within the next 6 to 12 hours, but you also have to keep in mind that's getting awfully close to when we expect it to cross over the Florida Keys. You've got a couple of things driving it. You've got a high pressure system sitting out here over the open Atlantic. You've got a high pressure sitting right around the Texas coastline. Those two combinations are what's going to be driving it to push that right-hand turn over the main peninsula of Florida. Then you also have that high that's over the main portion of the U.S. that's going to break away. That's what's going to allow the storm, once it crosses into places like Georgia and Tennessee, and take its track from there. But ultimately, Anderson, again, 6 hours versus 12. We know it's likely going to happen in that time period. But if it happens 6 versus 12, there's a huge difference there on who actually will end up taking the ultimate landfall. So again, while we have a range, the opposite ends of that range could mean huge differences for several cities.
Allison, appreciate that update. Chris Cuomo just a few minutes ago told us that we're going to get a band of some of the rain that he experienced in Miami Beach. That's going to be coming to the Fort Myers area. Let's go to Drew Griffin, who's outside the arena that holds about 8,000 people. Drew, first of all, I understand for the thousands of people who've been waiting outside, for those who are still left online, I understand it's already started to rain there.
Yeah, a blast of rain just came through. It subsided just a second, but it created a little bit of a panic. What happened was at the same time they were opening up a second door on this center, the Germain Center, and they're trying to get the people inside now with a little more importance because these squalls are now really beginning to come through. There was a bad tweet that went out not too long ago, Anderson, that said somehow or another this place was going to reach capacity. That is not true. I just want to knock that down for anybody who may be in the viewing area. It's not true. There is plenty of capacity at the Germain Center, and everybody here is going to get in. But obviously the rain has begun. We're seeing the first bands coming through, and they're really rushing now to get these people inside before Irma really strikes. Anderson?
Well, Drew, if you've gotten a band of the rain there, we're expecting it then now in Fort Myers. I'm looking for the sky here, but again, good information. That arena is not that arena is not full. More people can still go there for anybody in the Fort Myers area who still wants to try to evacuate. The buses, according to the city, were to shut down at 3 o'clock. The shuttles, so you're going to have to figure out a way to get there on your own. But there is still room at those shelters, and the mayor had talked about trying to open up other shelters throughout the day as needed. 211 is the number to call for information and also for help in trying to get to some of those shelters, though that line has been busy, I know, throughout the day. I want to go to Bill Weir, who is in Key Largo, where it's also started to rain pretty hard. Bill, how is it now?
It's so interesting, Anderson. It's like someone flipped a switch and turned on the waterworks. We were just enjoying, calm skies relatively, and then boom, it came on. Now it's easing up a little bit. Ernest Hemingway, who loved the Florida Keys and wrote an Old Man in the Sea, the split personality of the ocean. There's Lamar when it's calm and beautiful. There's Elmar when it sinks your boat and floods your house. And of course, everybody around the Keys today bracing for Elmar, Irma, in Irma form. It's so interesting, though, also to look at the attitude shift. A couple days ago, very devil-may-care. We're riding it out because that's what we do down here in the Conch Republic. But last night, about 6 o'clock, city managers in Key West had a meeting and came out shaken. And that's when they decided to evacuate 500 prisoners out of the Monroe County Jail down there. That's when they started really sending people north in ways they hadn't seen days earlier, even after the mandatory evacuation. They announced this morning that Key West High School is a refuge of last resort. No services provided. Bring what you need, but pets are welcome there as they're hunkering down for what they were thinking might be the biggest direct hit since the Great Labor Day hurricane of 1935. People have long memories about storms and who survived, what boats survived. About 5 families are actually riding out the storm in this little marina here in Key Largo, not on their boats, but in a stone building right here nearby. There's also a dive shop that has 3 stories made of stone. That is sort of plan C if things get really dicey here today. But we're just bracing to see what comes next, Anderson.
Yeah, people shifting their plans all throughout the day as the winds and the path of this storm has been shifting here further west. Let's go to John Berman, who's standing by in Miami Beach. John, we talked about this earlier today with Chris Cuomo, but it can be so deceptive if you haven't been through one of these hurricanes before, and frankly, no one's been through a hurricane this size, but it can be so deceptive when you look at, the weather for most of the day here in Fort Myers. It's been hot. The sun's been out at times, sometimes just behind the clouds. Haven't really seen a lot of rain, but as we saw, Bill Weir was just talking about in Key Largo, it's like somebody flips a switch and all of a sudden the rain is just torrential.
Yeah, it can change so fast, Anderson. Right here in Miami where we are, it's windy. I mean, the wind is now fairly sustained and fairly strong, 30 to 40 miles an hour, I say. Not yet at the point where it is dangerous for the first responders to still be out, but it is very, very windy now. Not a lot of people out on the streets here by any stretch of the imagination in Miami. You know, more than 600,000 people were under mandatory evacuations in Miami-Dade County, the largest evacuation this county has ever seen. And while maybe now they are not expected to bear the brunt of this storm, officials are pleading with people to still take it seriously, pleading with them, don't go home. If you've evacuated, don't go home, because we don't know exactly what's going to get here. The storm could wobble, and even if the storm doesn't wobble, there's going to be hurricane-force winds here, almost for sure, in the Miami area, and storm surge as well, Anderson. You know, maybe not the 10 to 15 feet that they're fearing where you are on the West Coast, which sounds terrifying, but 3 feet, maybe up to 6 feet in some areas. In particular concern, you can see behind me right now, there's the causeway. There's a bridge out to Miami Beach. Miami Beach is particularly low-lying. It's one of these barrier islands, mandatory evacuations over that whole island. That has been a cause of particular concern now the entire run-up to Hurricane Irma making impact. Our Kyung La is out on Miami Beach, one of the few people, hopefully, still out on Miami Beach. Kyung, what are you seeing out there?
Well, we're seeing the same sort of winds out here, sustained winds now, and we're just starting to hear from the Miami Beach Fire Department that they're responding to some calls of fallen trees, trying to get through some of that. And the reason why is that the winds are picking up. You can see in the trees here, you can see that palm tree over there. Some of the palm fronds have broken off. And then take a look down there. It's a branch of the tree, but this is what we're beginning to see here. So wind is a concern. The other concern here, and that's something you see over here, the businesses are concerned about the wind, but also the storm surge. It's the storm surge here because it is low-lying that the Miami Beach Police Department has now said if you are out and about, whether it's foot traffic, car traffic, if you have not evacuated, and this is an area under mandatory evacuation, if you are out and about between the hours of 8 p.m. and 7 a.m. this evening, the overnight hours, you will be subject to arrest. They want to try to keep people off the streets. A storm surge of 5 to 10 feet here could mean that you drown. And so that's why we're seeing the Miami Beach Police Department taking that extraordinary measure, telling people to simply get out of the way. John?
It makes so much sense, Kyung, and we hope they are paying attention, because to storm surge, there's no defense against storm surge rather than just getting out of the way. Go inland. You don't need to evacuate out of the state of Florida. Just move inland to safer, slightly higher ground. And we hope on both coasts now that people are paying attention to that warning. Storm surge, the real concern from Hurricane Irma, as is now moved past Cuba, very close to making that bend, battering the Keys, and then up into the Florida Peninsula. CNN's live coverage of Hurricane Irma continues right after a quick break.
We just got to take it one game at a time. Next question.
Odell, can you repeat everything you just said? My live stream won't load.
Technical foul.
Wrong sport.
Wrong network. You see, you need unlimited on Verizon. It's America's largest, most reliable 4G LTE network. They won't let you down in places like this, even in the strike zone.
It's the red zone.
Pretty sure it's the strike zone. Here, use mine. All right, see you on the court, champ. Heads up.
When it really, really matters, you need the best network and the best unlimited. Now plans start at $40 per line for 4 lines.
Everybody knows smoking is bad for you. But what you might not know is that sitting all day at your desk may be just as bad. It may lead to heart disease and back pain. But standing more and sitting less is better for you. It decreases back pain and increases circulation. That's why there's Veridesk, the sit-stand solution that helps people feel better and get more done. It's crafted to last a lifetime and comes fully assembled, ready to work. Get yours at veridesk.com.
You're in the match app. Okay. Now tap on the new Missed Connections feature.
It says I've crossed paths with Kate 6 times this week.
That is a lot of times.
She's cute, too.
Yeah?
How did I miss her?
You didn't. Match picked it up for you. Check out new Missed Connections on Match. Start for free today.
It's the flooring sale you've been waiting for. Empire Today's half-price sale. Get $2,400 of flooring for $1,200. $5,200 for an amazing $2,600. That's half the price of your entire purchase. Shop for carpet, hardwood, tile, vinyl, and laminate right from home and have it professionally installed. Don't miss Empire's half-price sale. Schedule now.
800-588-2300 Empire.
Today. Okay, careful. Oh.
All this stuff.
Such a waste. Gorilla Glue.
Of course.
Gorilla Glue bonds wood, stone, metal, ceramic, and more. Gorilla Glue, for the toughest jobs on planet Earth.
When I first started working with Capital One, my dad called them up and asked for the Jennifer Garner card, which is such a dad thing to do. After he gave his name, the woman from Capital One said, "Mr. Garner, are you related to Jennifer?" kind of joking with him. And my dad was so proud to tell her, "As a matter of fact, she is my middle daughter." So now Dad has the venture card, he's earning his double miles, and he made a friend of the company.
Can I say it?
Go ahead.
What's in your wallet?
Nice job, Dad.
Are you done yet?
Does it look like I'm done?
Shouldn't you be at work?
Todd. Hold on.
Your real bike's all fixed.
Man, you guys are good.
Well, we are the #1 motorcycle insurer in the country.
Wait, you have a real motorcycle?
And real insurance with 24-hour customer support.
Well, I retire as champion.
Game hog.
Champion.
Do you tell yourself, today's the day, I'm gonna lose the weight, but nothing changes? Well, today's the day. Just call Nutrisystem.
I'm Brian, and I've lost 75 pounds on Nutrisystem.
I'm Chris, and I lost 120 pounds on Nutrisystem.
Lose 15 pounds and 7 inches overall in your first month. Lose weight fast. Money back guarantee.
I got to eat my favorite food.
I got to eat, and I got to eat a lot. Nutrisystem for Men is the real deal with real food that gets real results. Order your 28-day program right now and get all new Nutri-Crush bars to crush cravings free, and 1 week of Turbo Shakes to bust that gut free.
Nutrisystem just gave me my life back.
These guys are just like you. They made the call and they got the results. Lose weight, boost energy, improve your health with Nutrisystem for Men. Call or go online in the next 2 minutes and we'll throw in FedEx shipping free. Lose 15 pounds and 7 inches overall in your first month. Make the call now.
Go online or call 877-385-SIZE right now and get Nutrisystem for Men with bars and shakes free.
Welcome back to our continuing coverage of Hurricane Irma here from Fort Myers, Florida. Just starting to get some wind moving a little bit here in Fort Myers. Frankly, it's been a very deceptive day, as we were talking about earlier with John Berman. The sun was shining. It was very hot. I was putting on, and other people were putting on sunscreen as they were standing outside here. But it is getting a little bit cooler now, and definitely one of these bands of the storm, as we saw with Drew Griffin, who's not too far away at an arena where several thousand people are seeking shelter. Big rain out there. The rain has not yet hit this area of Fort Myers. We'll continue to watch it very closely. I'm joined on the phone by Senator Bill Nelson from the state of Florida. Senator Nelson, as you watch this storm approach your state, I'm wondering, you've seen a lot of storms. What do you think of this one and the track that it's taking thus far?
Well, we saw 48 hours ago that it was starting to shift west. So now, 48 hours later, it's not an East Coast storm, it's going to be a West Coast storm. And the fact that you're there in Fort Myers, the real threat, other than the Florida Keys, which is going to get it hit hard, and if it got to Cat 5 on the Florida Keys, that could give some structural damage to the 7-mile bridge. But that's a whole set of other problems. But coming up the West Coast, if it moves out into the Gulf and parallels the coast, that's the worst of all possible situations, because the counterclockwise rotation takes the water and runs it up the bays like Charlotte Harbor and Tampa Bay. And once, Anderson, it gets up in the bays, there's no place for it to go. So it walls up and it becomes a huge, huge storm surge.
Right. At this point, I mean, they're talking about, for Tampa Bay, estimates of 5 to 8 feet of storm surge. Of course, depending on the wind, you have waves on top of that. And even here at Fort Myers could be 10 to 15 feet. I mean, Senator, for people who are living in a one-level house, a 15-foot storm surge, that covers a first floor of a house.
Exactly. And then if the storm surge comes at high tide, you just add that much more water.
You know, in terms, we've seen, I remember back in 2004 covering Hurricane Charlie, and I was talking to the mayor here in Fort Myers. Charlie was on the same track, essentially coming up this river. It had an adjustment of about 4 degrees, and of course hit Punta Gorda, which wasn't initially what people expected it to do. I remember, I think I was in Tampa for it. I ended up driving to Punta Gorda. Even now, this storm could still move. Even slight changes in degrees make a huge, huge difference.
It could, but you got to give a shout out to the National Weather Service and the National Hurricane Center and NOAA. All of their assets, they're much more accurate now in their predictions of the path and the intensity since Hurricane Charlie. But you're right, Anderson. Hurricane Charlie was going up the West Coast, and all of a sudden it took a right hook and went right up Charlotte Harbor. Ground zero was Punta Gorda, and that was a big surprise. There'd been a lot of people that had evacuated from Tampa to come down to stay in the Holiday Inn in Punta Gorda, and that ended up being ground zero.
Yeah, I was talking to somebody who had evacuated from Miami Beach, was staying in Tampa. I got a text from them this morning saying, where should I go? Should I go back to Miami Beach? Because now Tampa seems to be possibly worse off than Miami was supposed to be. Are you concerned about people getting to shelters? You know, buses here in Fort Myers were supposed to stop at 3 o'clock. We've seen a long line outside the arena where our correspondent has been. It seems like everybody's going to be able to get into that arena, but it seems like there's a lot of people who decided to ride out the storm and then woke up this morning and realized, wait a minute, this storm has moved west. We're now directly in its sights.
That's precisely what's happened. And you're not only getting to locations for shelters now. I saw it. I just came from Tampa from the Hillsborough County Emergency Operations Center. The traffic on Interstate 4 going east is significantly picked up. So that's exactly what people are doing, like your friend that you just mentioned. They had evacuated to the West Coast. Now they're moving off the West Coast back to the east.
Yeah, because when I drove here, obviously going west from Miami this morning, there was virtually no traffic heading back to Miami. But as you say now, that has definitely changed. Senator, I appreciate talking to you. We'll talk to you, obviously, in the days ahead. Another short break, but our coverage continues in a moment.
To sit idly by. We are here to leave a mark. Experience a shift in the natural order. Experience amazing.
When does a business trip really start? The Global Lounge Collection from American Express offers you a place to prepare and recharge at over 1,000 airport lounges worldwide. The world is yours with Platinum, backed by the service and security of American Express.
Hi, I'm Johnny Bench. After a Hall of Fame career, it's no wonder why I use Blue Emu Arthritis Cream. Blue Emu's non-greasy, deep-penetrating formula gets down deep into those joints for big-time pain relief. Blue Emu, it works fast and you won't stink.
At Holiday Inn Express, we can't guarantee that you'll be able to contain yourself at our breakfast bar.
Or an egg white omelet. Sup, Lady Bacon?
Fruit?
There it is.
But we can guarantee that you'll get the best price when you book with us.
Holiday Inn Express. Be the readiest.
These birds, once affected by oil, are heading back home thanks to Dawn. Rescue workers only trust Dawn because it's tough on grease, yet gentle.
I am home. I am home. I am home.
Everywhere I look around, every sight and every sound, love is in the air. In the rising of the sun, when the day is nearly done, all you need is Ecuador. Like nowhere else, all in one place, so close, Ecuador is all you need.
This is a story about mail and packages. And it's also a story about people. People who rely on us every day to deliver their dreams. They're handing us more than mail. They're handing us their business. And while we make more e-commerce deliveries to homes than anyone else in the country, we never forget that your business is our business. The United States Postal Service. Priority, you.
10 seasons on CNN. How the did that happen?
Let's go!
Anthony Bourdain, Parts Unknown, is back.
The 10th season is the strangest, soft, wildest, most creative season yet.
So what's the secret to making it this far?
Alcohol.
Season 10 of Anthony Bourdain, Parts Unknown starts Sunday, October 1st at 9 on CNN.
Can Bosley regrow your hair?
This is my own growing hair that I can comb, cut, style, do whatever I want with it.
The results I've achieved have been exceptional. This is my real hair. I can do with it whatever I want. This is mine.
Bosley gave me my hair back. I cut this hair. I wash this hair. I mess this hair up if I want to mess this hair up.
I can't explain to you the way that it made me feel to be able to wear my hair down, go out on a date, and have confidence again.
Can Bosley regrow your hair?
This is my hair. This is my hair.
Call or go online for your free, no-obligation self-evaluation kit. Plus, call in the next 6 minutes, and we'll even send you this $250 gift certificate. The information is free, so choose to grow back your own real hair. Choose Bosley. Call now.
This is CNN, the most trusted name in news.
Closed captioning brought to you by ACT Oral Care. For a healthier mouth, go beyond brushing with ACT.
Megan's smile is getting a lot of attention because she uses ACT mouthwash. ACT strengthens enamel, protects teeth from harmful acids, and helps prevent cavities. Go beyond brushing with ACT.
All right, John Berman here in Miami. The video you're seeing right now was shot a little while ago here in Miami. More than 20 cranes, giant cranes up in this city, a sign of the booming economy here. There's a lot of construction here. The problem is they couldn't take these cranes down in time. They had to leave them up. And the booms, those arms, looks terrifying when they move. They're designed to move. They serve like a sort of weather vane. If they tied them down, it would be like a sail and blow a whole lot over. That resistance would be dangerous. So they let them twist like that. It can be a terrifying sight for people in a city like Miami. The building officials here in the city sent a note out to the population saying if you live in a building near one of these cranes, you should evacuate. There is obvious concern about that. Just one of the things we're watching here in Miami as the wind has picked up. It is now consistently windy here, a wind of about 30 miles an hour blowing fairly consistently, gusts a little more than that. Just starting to drizzle right now as these bands move through. Let's go to Allison Chinchar in the CNN Weather Center to get a sense of what we will be feeling here in the Keys and maybe most importantly on the west coast of Florida and when. Allison.
That's right, John. So we take a look at the current numbers that we have right now. Irma is a Category 3 storm, but a very strong Category 3 storm. Winds right now 125 miles per hour, just 5 miles per hour stronger, and it would be a Category 4 storm. So I want you to understand, you're talking a difference of 5 miles per hour here. So don't focus on the category number so much, but the intensity of the winds. Movement is west at about 9 miles per hour, but we have started to see at least a slight shift off to the north as well. One of the big concerns is going to be maximum wind gusts. Take a look at some of these numbers. Key West, we're talking around 138 miles per hour. This will be at the peak as the storm is crossing over that region. Naples and Fort Myers also in that 130 to 130 mile per hour range. Even Tampa likely to be around 116. Now the East Coast, while it may not be as strong, you're still talking pretty strong wind gusts. In fact, Orlando looking at 95 miles per hour for their peak wind gust. Storm surge is also going to be a huge threat with this particular storm. We got some updated numbers a few hours ago that really made these numbers rise. In fact, especially in the southwest portion, say Naples down towards Key Largo, we're talking 10 to 15 feet. Miami down towards Key West, 5 to 10 feet. Even around the Fort Myers area, you're talking 6 to 10 feet. The numbers, however, you have to understand what they mean. So let's take a look at this, for example. Just to talk about storm surge. 10 feet is what an average first-story building is. So if you have storm surge of 10 feet, and keep in mind, some places we're actually forecasting higher than 10 feet. Some areas it could be as much as 15 feet, which means it would start creeping into the second story of a home or a business or something like that. But this is just the storm surge. Now you also have to factor in the waves. This is where true inundation takes place, because it's not just the amount of rain, or not just the amount of water that has been pushed in from the storm surge, but those waves, the crests of those waves can add even a couple more feet on top of that. So you talk about 5 to 6 feet. You know, if you've got a person that's 6 feet tall, you are now completely submerged underwater, and you've got the waves moving everything around. This is where it gets very concerning, especially those higher amounts too. You could have cars submerged. So if you take that car out onto a street as the storm surge is pushing in, you will have absolutely no control over that vehicle, even though the car may not be fully submerged at that point. Now, when we talk about the track, this is the part that everybody is concerned about, because you want to know where landfall is expected to be. However, because of the size of the storm, at this point, that really is just semantics. Everybody around Florida is going to get some impact from this storm. Some will just get bigger impacts than others, namely the winds. Here's what we expect. We do expect it to increase back to a Category 4 strength storm as it crosses over the Keys and continues its way up the west coast. Right now, landfall could be anywhere from, say, Naples to Fort Myers, even up around Tampa. And Tampa is a huge city. A lot of people in Tampa did not necessarily evacuate, especially several days ago, thinking this was mostly going to be an East Coast main landfall of a storm. But that is now starting to change. Then we see the track kind of push further into the north, states like Alabama, Georgia, as well as Tennessee. And the other thing, John, to note is we are still talking a pretty good amount of rain. We've talked about storm surge. We've talked about wind. But don't count out the rain. We could be looking at widespread rainfall totals of 6 to 12 inches of rain.
All right, Allison Chinchar, an important forecast, the point that people should really listen to there, where you're talking about impact on the state of Florida. The impact of a hurricane will be the entire state of Florida. The eye may hit on the west coast, but you're going to feel the storm force winds, and you're going to see the storm surge in water like this all across the southern part of the state. The storm surge, clearly what is worrying officials the most. You can hear it in the voice of the governor. You can hear it in the voice of the FEMA director in Washington. They're watching that very, very carefully, particularly on the west coast, where they could see a storm surge from 10 to 15 feet. Let's go over to the west coast. I want to talk to Ben McMillan. He is a storm chaser. He's in Punta Gorda, Florida right now, right on the west. Punta Gorda, by the way, has seen its share of hurricanes in the past. And Ben, you have a fairly alarming prediction of what could happen, particularly on the west coast, because of Hurricane Irma. You say some parts of Florida could end up looking like a third world country. Why?
One of the big issues with that storm surge that you were talking about is it plows through everything in its path. Buildings, cars, vehicles, and even people. And that is one of the most damaging forces of nature. All that water coming up from the bay up over these walls and into the city, guys. We're talking about 10 to 15 foot of surge. So these walls aren't going to be any match for all that water coming up out of the ocean.
Now, I'm over here in Miami, where they've been preparing really for several days right now. One of the things that has concerned me is that maybe people on the west have been a little complacent. What's your take on that? What have you seen?
As we've driven north today from the Fort Myers area up to now Punta Gorda, we've seen a lot of people out and about. Some people even going about their normal daily routines. And that's the big concern here, is that people might not have gotten enough of the urgency that the state officials had been trying to communicate, because so much of that effort was directed towards the East Coast. But we want to tell you now, if you live on the west coast of Florida and you're being asked to evacuate, please go now. This threat is real.
Yeah, so a couple 100,000 people in Pinellas County, that's St. Petersburg, issued evacuation orders. They're watching that very, very carefully. And Ben, just because you've seen storms like this, you watch all of these storms very carefully. People think hurricane, they think the winds. They always keep track of the wind strength. And now after Hurricane Harvey, people have thought about flooding, but storm surge is something completely different. And in some ways, one of the most dangerous things that can happen in a hurricane. Why?
just because of the power of all that water. Winds can be stopped by stronger buildings, stronger construction, but when you have that much force coming up, especially out of something like the ocean, where there's an unlimited supply of all that water, almost anything can be toppled.
And of course, on the West Coast, you have these bays. There are a lot of people now saying that the concern about the path of this storm, maybe even if it's slightly off the West Coast, it will push the water up into the bays on the west, particularly, Tampa Bay is something. The city of Tampa lies so close to the water there on that bay. How bad could it get there?
Well, unfortunately, John, Tampa, a metro of over 3 million people, that's a lot of folks, and I don't know if we're going to get them all out in time. So we can see serious consequences if this storm shifts any more to the west. As your meteorologists have been saying, there's going to be strong winds and storm surge on the eastern part of that storm. The northeast quadrant is where we watch very closely for some of the most dangerous conditions.
All right, Ben McMillan for us in Punta Gorda. You're going to have your work cut out for you the next few days. I hope people heed your warnings there. As we've been saying, up here in Miami, or over here in Miami, the winds have picked up consistently, blowing now fairly strongly. Going to feel these winds for some time all over the southern part of Florida as the storm moves up west to where Anderson Cooper is in Fort Myers. Anderson?
Yeah, John, thanks very much. I want you to meet Captain Jay Rodriguez. He's commander of hurricane operations for the city of Fort Myers for the police department. How are things going?
So far, so good. Our community's listening. We're starting evacuations and actually wrapping them up, giving some rides to some people that still need it, but overall, very good.
The public buses that were in operation to try to get people to shelters that are offered if people call 211, those shut down at 3 o'clock. So if people don't have a vehicle, is there any way for them to still get to a shelter if they want?
Yeah, we still need them to call us. They can call 211, and we're doing our best. Fire, EMS, and police, we're going to help them to get them out and to get them to a shelter.
It seems like a lot of those people were people who thought they could ride it out, and then obviously when the storm shifted west, suddenly realized, wait a minute, this is a different category.
You're exactly right, and that's just it. They waited a little too long, but we're going to do our best to try to get them out, and that's why we just say, please get out as fast as you can.
Yeah, you've been through a lot of storms before. You were through Hurricane Andrew, right?
Yes, right?
So how did that inform the way you react to this?
I take, as a native of Florida, I take these very seriously. I did survive Andrew, and that's a piece of my public to my community. I've been doing that for a week now. Please get out. Don't take this lightly. And I moved out myself and my family just to show that I'm serious about this.
It's one of the, it is so deceptive when if you're hanging out here today. It seems calm, and then all of a sudden it can change on a dime.
It's the calm before the storm. Right. Yeah, and if you're from Florida or lived anywhere with hurricanes, you know what's coming, and this is a very serious one.
Right. In terms of the aftermath, for police, if there were 911 calls during the storm, obviously it can be too dangerous for police, for firefighters, for EMS, or anybody to go out. You got to wait. What are the priorities? Because in many cases, you got to get the roads clear before you can even get anywhere.
Right, we work with fire and EMS, and we have a emergency response team with chainsaws and stuff like that, and we prioritize all the calls. So we take the calls, we prioritize them, and we'll, as soon as it's safe for our guys to go out there, we go by the highest priority and we work our way there. Obviously, our hospitals, our shelters, our main importance to clear the areas around there so we can use those facilities.
So to people who are listening right now, whether they're considering going to a shelter or just staying at home or trying to figure out what to do in the next couple hours, what's your message?
My message is if you're going to stay there, please hunker down. Please call us. We'll get to you as soon as we can. But understand that we're no good if I can't get there, if my people can't get there. So just pray or do whatever it is you do to just stay safe, and we'll be there for you at the outcome. We have a lot of plans in place for what happens after the storm.
Captain, I appreciate all your efforts. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Yeah, good luck to you. A lot more to cover here in Fort Myers. Also, John Berman in Miami, and of course, all our correspondents all around. We'll be right back.
If you need help with home projects, you need to know about Home Advisor. It's a totally free service that matches you with trusted local home pros. You can read verified reviews and book an appointment. Go to homeadvisor.com.
Home Advisor. It's time to get smart about home security. Introducing Floodlight Cam by Ring, a motion-activated security light with an HD camera.
Don't even think about it.
With Floodlight Cam, you can stop crime before it happens. Protecting your home has never been easier.
T-Mobile's Unlimited now includes Netflix on Us. That's right, Netflix on Us. Get 4 unlimited lines for just $40 each, taxes and fees included. And now, Netflix included. So go ahead, binge on Us. Another reason why T-Mobile is America's best unlimited network.
Tired of never having enough light to put on your makeup just right? Sick of not being able to see up close when you need to the most? Then you need My Foldaway Mirror, the lighted double-sided vanity mirror with 10 times magnification. My Foldaway Mirror features super bright LEDs on both mirror sides for picture-perfect illumination. Plus, it's full-frame distortion-free, so you can see your face naturally. Then rotates to a powerful 10-time magnification on the other side. Now, close-up work is easier than ever. From applying makeup and trimming your eyebrows to putting on mascara and doing up-close inspections. And you'll love this. It takes up virtually no space on your countertop, making getting ready clutter-free and easy. Extending to a full 13 inches high, My Foldaway Mirror comes to you, so you don't have to lean into. It's so lightweight and compact that it saves space anyplace. Plus, My Foldaway Mirror has a built-in organizer, so accessories are always within reach. My Foldaway Mirror turns any room into your own private beauty bar. With 10 times the magnification and full-frame distortion-free, My Foldaway Mirror makes everything crystal clear and easy to see. It folds down so compact, it's perfect for travel, going out after work, and getting ready on the go. My Foldaway Mirror is like packing a full-size vanity mirror right into your bag. It's battery-operated with an incredible 30,000-hour rating for the LEDs. Stop struggling with not seeing up close and never having enough light, and let the 10 times magnification and super bright LED lights help you do right with My Foldaway Mirror. Call or visit our website now to order My Foldaway Mirror for the special TV discount price of just $19.99. And we're going to save you even more and ship your entire order free. That's right, free shipping. You get the double-sided light-up My Foldaway Mirror with 10 times magnification and free shipping for one low price. Call or visit our website now at myfoldaway.com. That's myfoldaway.com.
My 5-alarm chili makes game days better. You mean I know it, but FanDuel does too. For new players, there are beginner-only contests with real prizes to help you learn the ropes. And since you pick a new team every week, you're never sidelined with injuries or draft busts. Play for as little as $1 or compete for a share of $1 million. Or start a private contest to play against your friends. FanDuel, it's the 5-alarm chili your daily fantasy game's been waiting for.
Try FanDuel today for free. No deposit required. Use promo code CARRY for a free shot at $10,000 in cash prizes.
Con artists. They'll try anything to get your Medicare card number.
So they can steal your identity.
Commit Medicare fraud.
What can you do? Guard your card.
Guard your card. Just like your credit card.
Nobody gets my number, unless I know they should have it.
To protect your identity, new Medicare cards without Social Security numbers will be mailed next year.
Visit Medicare.gov/fraud.
Stay sharp, people.
Our coverage continues now of Hurricane Irma here from Fort Myers, Florida, where it has been deceptively calm in terms of the weather throughout the day. We've got a little bit of gust of winds just in the last few minutes, but really nothing serious, nothing to really indicate the monster storm, the deadly storm that is to come. And the people here in Fort Myers woke up today realizing that because the storm had shifted to the west. They're talking about storm surge down in Naples, which isn't too far from here, south of here, in the 10 to 15 feet range in the Centennial Park area where we are right now. If it raises 10 feet, this area is going to be flooded. 15 feet, there's no telling how much of this area will be flooded. This is actually evacuation zone B, they call it. Evacuation zone A, there was already a mandatory evacuation for. Then earlier today, they also called out a mandatory evacuation for this area. B basically stretches south of here and also west across the river. So it's a really big area. They've been sending out police with loudspeakers saying, look, this is now a mandatory evacuation zone, trying to get as many people as possible to the shelters. Because frankly, there's a lot of people who have just thought, look, you know, it's Miami. This is going to be an East Coast storm. It's Miami that's going to get the worst of this. It is a whole different story right now as we continue to track where this storm is exactly. I want to check in with Brian Todd, who's in West Palm Beach. Brian, it looks like it's not going to be as bad there as it might have been. I'm wondering what you're hearing from people and what you're seeing.
Well, Anderson, the streets have gotten a lot more deserted here because the wind has started to kick up. We were told by our weather people at CNN that we could expect tropical storm force winds about now. We're starting to experience those. White caps here on the Intercoastal Waterway. Storm surge is a concern because it could lap up and wash through this area and inundate it with water if the storm surge plus the high tide combine with each other. Less than an hour ago, they ratcheted up those warnings that you were talking about, going door to door with loudspeakers. They ratcheted up that pressure on people to stay inside. Less than an hour ago, a curfew went into effect. They do not want to see people out here on these streets. Once in a while, an odd vehicle will pass by, but we're not seeing much traffic or many people out on the streets now. People seem to be abiding by that curfew. Now, we talk about the danger of cranes. We've got a double whammy here because we've got two cranes here. This one is bracketed down about halfway up. That bracket up there is securing it. But there's another one over here, just to my left. We're going to walk a little bit over here. This is a large construction site, looks like it's a condominium being built here. That one is also bracketed down about halfway up. And as we've been talking about all day here and in Miami, these top booms of these cranes are going to be allowed to swing. And it's going to look pretty ominous when they're allowed to swing, but they are designed to do that. We had a lady, though, just come and tell us that who lives in that apartment building over there, she's concerned that crane may topple and hit her apartment building. We've got apartment buildings over here and a church over here. If these cranes come down, those places could be vulnerable. Anderson?
Yeah, Brian, I know in Miami, certainly we saw, they were securing those cranes as much as they could. But as you said, they allow the outer arm of that crane to basically act like a weather vane. That's actually safer. We'll obviously continue to watch all the construction sites. But Brian, in West Palm Beach, as elsewhere in Florida, building codes have changed in the wake of Andrew, as people probably know by now. So newer structures are built much more solidly, supposed to be able to withstand strong storms.
That's right, they are, and they're built to code here. Andrew was the storm that really changed that equation all throughout South Florida, Anderson, as you know. All of these buildings are built to code. However, we were looking at one hotel not far from here, and those people told us that they were built only to withstand a Category 2. So not everybody is building to withstand a 4 or a 5, despite what you may think about, certain standards here. However, a lot of these buildings seem very solid and secure, but when you've got 130 mile per hour winds possibly here, it might be not quite as strong, but they're going to threaten some structures. They're going to rip whole sections of roof off other structures probably. So those are things you have to watch out for. This construction site is kind of that in a microcosm. Look at all the loose stuff that's here. Now they've secured a lot of this, but a lot of this could be flying around tomorrow. So it's the flying debris, Anderson, at the height of these storms that is very, very dangerous. Not as dangerous as you've heard Chad and Allison and our other weather people say that the flooding is, because that is the thing that kills the most people. But flying debris, flying shingles and flying sections of rooftops, that's going to be a big concern in addition to these babies right behind me, these cranes.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the reasons people need to stay indoors, not just because of the surge and the floodwaters and the chance of drowning, but again, those projectiles, when it is dark out and that wind is whipping. I mean, I've been out there as you have and so many others. You don't know what's coming. You can't see what's coming towards you until often it's too late. We're going to continue to check in with Brian. We're going to take a short break as our coverage from Florida, from all points in southern Florida and beyond, continues in a moment.
We just got to take it one game at a time. Next question.
Odell, can you repeat everything you just said? My live stream won't load.
Technical foul.
Wrong sport.
Wrong network. You see, you need unlimited on Verizon. It's America's largest, most reliable 4G LTE network. They won't let you down in places like this, even in the strike zone.
It's the red zone.
Pretty sure it's the strike zone. Here, use mine. All right, see you on the court, champ. Heads up.
When it really, really matters, you need the best network and the best unlimited. Now plans start at $40 per line for 4 lines.
This is Dave, his dog Cooper, and I'm Randy. We sell socks. Why socks? We found out that socks are the #1 most requested clothing item at homeless shelters. So for every pair we sell, we donate a pair to someone in need. But first we had to fix this. Socks shouldn't fall down. Fixed. Lack of arch support. Fixed. Socks shouldn't have an annoying seam. Fixed. The result? Socks so comfortable we've been able to sell and donate over 2.5 million pairs. Get an additional 20% off your first order at bombas.com.
Introducing the new $1,000 a day for life prize from Publishers Clearinghouse. $1,000 a day, every day, for life.
Shut up!
Go to PCH.com and enter now. October 13th, you can win $1,000 a day for life.
You have a vision. It's behind everything you do. Even when you least expect it, it comes through. You know what you want, and we can help make it real. You need choices? We've got all kinds, including special finishes and papers. And they're all absolutely guaranteed. Because you have a vision, and we have your card. 500 start at just $9.99 when you enter BC500 at Vistaprint.com.
My name is Brian. I'm proud to make Dog Chow in Davenport, Iowa. Dog Chow has been a part of my family's life for over 40 years. My grandfather made it, and now I'm making it. As a microbiologist, I ensure that Dog Chow leads with high-quality ingredients.
I was a single mom looking for a man, not only for myself, but for my son. When I went on eHarmony, I had to fill out a lot of questions about myself, so they really got to know who I was and what I was looking for.
eHarmony, I think, is the only dating website that could bring something to me, the exact kind of person I was looking for. Other sites seemed really shallow. There's no perfect match beyond Angela. She's the best person for me.
Maybe it's your turn. Stop waiting. Start communicating for free today.
Wise man? I'm nervous about things I can't control affecting my good credit score.
I see you've planted an uncertainty tree. Chop that thing down. The clarity you seek lies within the CreditWise app from Capital One. CreditWise helps you protect your credit. And it's completely free for everyone.
It's free for everyone?
Do hawks use the stars to navigate?
I don't know.
I thought you did. I don't know either. Either way, it's free for everyone.
Cool.
What's in your wallet?
This is a quest to explore the wonders of our world.
Never seen anything like this before.
Go there before it's gone. The Wonder List with Bill Weir returns Saturday, October 7th at 9 on CNN.
Hey, I'm Ty Pennington, and I've got a simple question for you. Are you paying too much for your mortgage? Well, you won't know for sure until you check with Guaranteed Rate. You can do it right now. It's that easy. With Guaranteed Rate's digital mortgage, you can choose from today's lowest rates, check your free credit scores, and even get approved online. Anytime, anywhere. All in just minutes, at no cost to you. Lowering your mortgage payment could save you thousands of dollars. Just take a few minutes right now to see how much you could save.
We were going to rent. That was the going-in plan, but the rate was so low at Guaranteed Rate that we ended up buying.
Whether you're buying a new home or refinancing your current home, get a low, low rate from Guaranteed Rate. Visit rate.com right now to find out how much you could save. Call 1-888-557-1555 or visit rate.com.
Have you ever handled a pistol before?
No. Okay.
And welcome back. Coverage of Hurricane Irma, the calm before the storm. Alex Marquardt is in Sarasota, Florida, for us. I want to check in with him. Alex, just in terms of what you are seeing, what the preparations are like there.
Well, Anderson, it seems like people are heeding the evacuation warnings. Just driving through downtown Sarasota to get out here to the beach, we saw very few people. Many of the businesses were boarded up, locked down. And you would be forgiven out here on the beach for not thinking that a massive storm is heading that way. I mean, just look at this scene here behind me. You have beautiful blue skies. You have these pristine sandy beaches. In fact, the only indication that something is amiss is that this beach isn't absolutely packed. We have a handful of people out here enjoying the final few hours before the storm hits. That is a handful too many for Governor Rick Scott, who told people that they need to be on their way evacuating out of town or getting into shelters by noon today. That was almost 4 hours ago. What we're expecting when this storm hits is this storm surge to come in from the ocean around 3 to 6 feet. More than 6 feet would result in catastrophic flooding. A mandatory evacuation zone, but local officials, including City Manager Tom Barwin, have told us that these people out here have a little bit more time. Barwin was saying that the city is as prepared as it possibly can be, and in his mind, he is preparing mentally for what the city is going to look like after the storm.
You know, Alex, the thing about this storm, as we saw, I mean, with Charlie, and I know, you know, it's gotten more, it's gotten better, the estimates of tracking these things, but a small deviation for this storm can make a huge difference on the ground. You know, a couple of degrees difference can mean a storm hits a town that you know, nobody thought it was going to hit directly.
So everybody out here on the beach and everyone we've seen in town, they're expected to go indoors in the next few hours. Local officials saying that wherever you plan on riding out this storm, you should be going there as soon as possible. Anderson?
Yeah, good words of advice. Alex Marquardt, appreciate it. We got a lot more ahead. Our coverage continues. We want to bring you the latest very soon on exactly where the storm is now, how powerful it is, and also just the timeline, give you a sense of when it's going to make landfall and track it up as it moves northward. Our coverage continues in just a moment.
Oh, you brought Butch.
Yeah.
He's looking at me right now, isn't he?
Yep.
Butch is like an old soul that just hates my guts.
You can never have too many faithful companions.
Introducing the all-new Crosstrek. Love is out there. Find it in a Subaru Crosstrek.
Coney Island has been around for a long, long time. Reminds me of how Geico has been saving people money for over 75 years.
First date? Hey, big guy, come on in. Let me guess your weight. Win a prize.
Sure, why not?
12 ounces?
Sorry, mate, 4 ounces. I've been taking the stairs lately.
You win, big guy.
Sorry. Excuse me.
Wow, he looks so much more real on TV.
Yeah. Over 75 years of savings and service. Get your rate quote today.
It all started with a cardboard box. It's what my colleague put his computer on when sitting all day at the office became too painful. So we designed the first Veridesk. Lift it to stand when you want to, lower it to sit when you need to.
I have more energy and I get more done.
Our boss got the company to buy them for us, and I love it.
If you sit every day for work, the Veridesk is a must.
It's sturdy and comes fully assembled. And if you don't love it within 30 days, we'll pick it up. Go to Veridesk.com to order yours.
I was playing golf a couple of days ago.
I love golf.
I used to love golf.
Wait, what? What happened?
I was having a good round, and then my friend, Sheila, right as I was stepping into the tee box, mentioned a tip a pro gave her.
No.
Yep.
Did it help?
It completely ruined my game.
Yeah, well, the truth is that advice was never meant for you.
I like you.
Do you want to show me your swing?
It's too soon.
Get advice that's right for you. Investment management services from TD Ameritrade.
What does FanDuel do to your football season? Same thing cheese, guac, beans, salsa, and beef do to chips. Makes it better. Contests start from $1. You can play against your friends or even compete for a share of $1 million. Play to win tickets to games and incredible fan experiences. FanDuel. It's the fully loaded nachos your daily fantasy football game's been waiting for. Try FanDuel today for free. No deposit required. Use promo code BREAKOUT for a free shot at $10,000 in cash prizes.
Let's go! Let's go!
Looking good.
Season 10 of Anthony Bourdain Parts Unknown starts Sunday, October 1st at 9 on CNN.
Can Bosley regrow your hair?
This is my own growing hair that I can comb, cut, style, do whatever I want with it.
The results I've achieved have been exceptional. This is my real hair. I can do with it whatever I want. This is mine.
Bosley gave me my hair back. I cut this hair. I wash this hair. I mess this hair up if I want to mess this hair up.
I can't explain to you the way that it made me feel to be able to wear my hair down, go out on a date, and have confidence again.
Can Bosley regrow your hair?
This is my hair. This is my hair.
Call or go online for your free, no-obligation self-evaluation kit. Plus, call in the next 6 minutes, and we'll even send you this $250 gift certificate. The information is free, so choose to grow back your own real hair. Choose Bosley. Call now.
This is CNN, the most trusted name in news.
Closed captioning brought to you by Midnight, the drug-free way to get the sleep you need.
Does your sleep aid leave you groggy? Switch to Drug-Free Midnight. It's specially formulated to work with the body's sleep mechanism to promote natural sleep. Try Midnight tonight.
This is CNN Breaking News.
And welcome back to our continuing coverage. I want to go to John Berman in Miami. John, I understand one of those outer bands of the storm is now hitting you.
That's right, Anderson. A sign of what you are in for, maybe even stronger and maybe very soon. One of those outer bands from Hurricane Irma hitting Miami right now. The wind has been very consistent, blowing at 30 miles an hour, 35, maybe higher for some time now. But now we're getting the rain in combination with that. It comes and goes, but when it's on, it is very strong. That is why people here, officials here, really want everyone inside. It's time to be indoors. Once the bands start hitting, it is time to stop moving about, get where you're going to be for some time. And behind me in Miami Beach, that means a total curfew as of 8 o'clock tonight. They don't want anyone on the streets out after 8 o'clock tonight. And if you are there, you're going to get arrested and taken into custody. They are just that serious right now. As I said, one of the outer bands hitting us right now. So let's go to Allison Sinchar in the CNN Weather Center to get a sense of where the storm is and why we're beginning to feel this right here in Miami. Allison?
That's right. So one of the things that has just changed at the top of the hour is the forward movement, the direction in which the storm is moving. Right now, we're starting to see a change from due west to west-northwest. That may seem very subtle, but that's what we've been waiting for. We've been waiting for that shift in which it is going to start to make that northward trek towards the state of Florida. And we're starting to at least get a little bit of a glimpse of that. Again, it's not a sharp turn, at least as of this point, but we're starting to see that change over. Now, one of the main concerns with this storm is still going to be incredibly strong winds. At landfall point, for a lot of these areas, these are your maximum wind gusts you're going to be dealing with. 138 miles per hour in Key West, 136 in Fort Myers. Even Tampa going to be looking at 116 miles per hour at its strongest point for the storm. The track still does take it along the west coast, but it's likely going to make its first landfall, if you will, in the U.S. over the Florida Keys. Exactly where, that is still yet to be determined. We have to wait to find out how quickly the storm makes that sharp turn to the north to really be able to tell exactly where the storm is going to go. It's then likely to go along places like Naples, Fort Myers, into Tampa, and then eventually it will move all inland and then push towards the states like Georgia, Alabama, and into Tennessee. One of the key things that we expect for this storm is that it will re-intensify back to a Category 4 storm. The main reason for that, take a look at how warm the water is in this region, upper 80s. That is the perfect fuel for a storm like this to be able to intensify, and that's what we expect it to do before it finally makes landfall. Now, we've been hearing a lot of this. People want to know, what is the timing for a lot of these cities in Florida? So let's take a look at Tampa, for example. Tropical storm winds will have already arrived in some of these areas by tomorrow afternoon. Hurricane force winds will likely already be in Tampa by tomorrow evening. Rainfall could be looking at 6 to 8 inches of rain, and the storm surge around 5 to 8 feet. Now we move to Naples, a little bit farther south of Tampa. Tropical storm winds will arrive early tomorrow morning. Hurricane force winds could arrive, say, just shortly after sunrise on Sunday. Then we talk about rainfall. This is where we could be looking at really heavy amounts of rain. We're talking nearing a foot of rain, and some of the areas just outside of Naples could pick up, say, as much as 15 inches of rain. Storm surge is also going to be a big factor, 10 to 15 feet for this region. Here's a look at the radar going forward to show you not just the direction, but also where those heavy rain bands are going to be. Again, on Sunday, we expect it early morning to cross over the Keys, then continue its trek up the west coast. We're talking Naples, Fort Myers, into Tampa, then pushing up towards Jacksonville and into the state of Georgia. It's still going to take incredibly strong winds into places like South Carolina and Georgia, which is why those states also have tropical storm watches. Even though we expect the storm to actually weaken a bit before it makes it into those areas, it's not going to weaken entirely. They are still going to get some impacts. Miami is already starting to see some of those impacts as we speak, and hurricane force winds, guys, will be arriving as early as tomorrow morning.
Allison Chinchar, thank you so much. Indeed, Miami is starting to feel some of those impacts, as Allison's saying, the storm starting to make that turn towards Florida. So what we're seeing here now with these higher winds and the rain starting to come, it's on. I mean, this is what we can expect to see for some time. And by the way, this is nothing compared to what it will be as this storm moves ever closer, moves past Miami and then up the west coast of Florida. Let's go to Drew Griffin right now. He's up in Fort Myers at one of these shelters where people have just been coming in by droves, Drew, to get to safety once they heard that Fort Myers was really in the bullseye. Drew.
That's right, and the big news here is the line is gone. They said everybody would fit. Everybody is fitting. That entire line, John, that's strung all the way around this building and into the parking lot 2 and 3 times has now diminished. These are people who are inside. They're coming back out with their armbands, getting their stuff. They're taking care of a big situation with the dogs. The dog situation out here is not good. You have all these dogs in this area, and they're trying to figure out the owners and the dogs, how they fit into a shelter with several thousands of people. But just as the rain really started to fall here heavy, they had a big push to get everybody finally inside. And so this shelter, which can hold 8,000, still has room for more, has everybody now inside. Really good news. We've been watching this all day, John, wondering how they were going to get people in. They finally did it. This shelter is now ready to brace for Hurricane Irma. John?
So there is room for more in that shelter, Drew. And as we know, Fort Myers maybe got a little bit of a later start with people heading to shelters and getting to safety because it wasn't as clear until overnight that the impact was going to be felt so strongly there. Do you get the sense that most people who are going to move have done so already? Are there still people heading to shelters, and how much more time do they have?
Really, the time has passed. There is capacity for people who want to come in last minute, who maybe have second thoughts, but you have to get here on your own. The bus service, the emergency bus service, which was taking evacuees to shelters, stopped at 3 o'clock. What happened in Fort Myers was interesting. There was evacuations going on of the barrier islands, of the level or zone A flood zones or surge zones. But this morning is when officials in Collier and Lee County extended that zone to Zone B. And that had a lot more people looking carefully at where they were, where this hurricane is, and what the path could be. And that's when a lot of people made the decision to finally, listen, I'm going to go to a shelter. It created a big log jam. It was sort of a last-minute decision, but a decision that really required the information that people did not get until this morning. So that's where that decision came from, and that's what created a lot of consternation. But, you know, the county, the state, the police here, they've done a great job. They stood up, kept everybody calm. Really minor problems, a lot of inconvenience, but everybody right now is inside at this huge shelter. John.
And that's great news. Drew Griffin in Fort Myers. People inside that shelter now where there is still room. So if you're listening, there is still time to get there, and there will be space for you. Drew Griffin, thank you so much. Fantastic, important work at that shelter all morning and all afternoon long. Let's go over to Anderson now, who's also in Fort Myers. Anderson?
Yeah, John, a little bit of rain starting, really the first rain we've started to see here over the last several hours. But again, it's really not much, just enough to kind of get the people who were kind of walking around, get them scurrying for cover. But again, just a small taste of what is to come. I should point out, just in terms of people here in the Fort Myers area getting to a shelter, the buses stopped running to shelters at 3 o'clock. The city said they did that to allow the bus drivers to help take care of their own families to get home and deal with what they need to get to. So if somebody is thinking of still going to a shelter, though there may still be room, the difficulty for some is how to get there. Of course, police say they will try to help if you call 211, but again, that number has been inundated with calls all throughout the day. I want to check in with Miguel Marquez, who's in Punta Gorda, Florida. Miguel, I understand you've been looking at the shelter situation there. How is it?
It is filled to capacity. They have 3 shelters here in Charlotte County where Punta Gorda is. All 3 are filled to capacity. 2 were for anyone. The 3rd was a special needs shelter. So what they are doing now, says the public information officer for the county, they've established 5 shelters in Sarasota County, about a 25-minute drive from here, where residents of Charlotte County can go to shelter. They are all packed here. I want to show you a little bit about this one. This is at an elementary school here in Port Charlotte in Charlotte County. I'd like to talk to this gentleman. Owen Jones, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, how are you, sir?
Well, not too bad today.
What brings you here? When did you come here and why?
I came here just this morning about 8:30. About 8:30.
And who did you come with?
Well, I came here, and my family are here. My wife is here, and my sons and his family are here.
And the check-in process was fine? You're comfortable? You believe that you will be fine here?
Yes. Yes, I'll be fine here.
How are your family doing? Are they okay?
They're okay. They are very okay here.
Girding for the storm, I take it.
Yeah, yes. Well, we are gearing up for the hurricane.
The hurricane is on everyone's mind here. When you go to service stations now to try to get gas in this area, you know those zombie movies that they have everywhere? It is literally like the zombie apocalypse. They see a car or two pulled up to the gas station. Everybody stops and pulls up. There's no gas. Everyone's talking amongst themselves sort of nervously. It is a very, very bizarre scene right here in this part of Florida right now. There is no gas to be had. Almost every store is shut. Everybody is either in shelters or figuring out what gas they have to get out of this area and get to another area. The reason they have so few shelters in this particular county is most of it is lowlands. They expect it to flood, and they just can't afford to put shelters in places that they would end up having to evacuate anyway. So they're sending them up to Sarasota. Anderson?
Miguel, as a fan of zombie films, thankfully zombies do not drive, but maybe they might evolve to that one day. But thankfully, as of now, they don't know how to use a car. It's very difficult. Miguel, thanks for that. We're going to continue to check in with you. Punta Gorda, a town that, of course, knows hurricanes all too well, as Charlie hit back in 2004, really devastated that town. I want to go to Renee Marsh, who's in Washington with the administrator of FEMA, Brock Long. Renee?
That's right, Anderson. I know that Administrator Long just got out of a meeting with the power companies, and you say you have a little reality check for people in the state of Florida, and it doesn't look very good as it relates to power. Tell me what we're expecting.
Yeah, Renee, because of the trajectory from south to north and the fact that they're forecasting it to be a Category 4 hurricane, the maximum radius winds and the hurricane force winds that extend to the northeast side of the eye are going to pass right through the state based on this forecast, which is, going to take a lot of the power infrastructure out. And so we could see millions of people without power in Florida for multiple days, and in some areas maybe weeks. And so I think it's very important to set the expectations of citizens. This is why we ask and plead with people to be ready for multiple days. And unfortunately, this is coming into reality.
And when you say millions, I mean, what are we talking about here? 6 million, 7 million people without power?
It's hard to speculate, but some of the estimates could be 5 million people without power based on this, south to north trajectory. And it's not just Florida. It's going to be moving into Georgia as well. Over the next 5 days.
I mean, when you compare that to Harvey was what, 300,000 people without
power,
right?
So completely different storm. Harvey was a stalled rain event that stalled out, lost its steering currents, sat over Texas for 5 days, dropped copious amounts of rain. This is going to be a storm surge and inland wind event that's going to wreak havoc upon the power system. And so what we're trying to do now is pre-plan. We're working with our private sector partners in the energy sectors. They are, pre-positioning, pulling out all stops. They're going to be activating mutual aid from all over the country to be able to come in. And as soon as we can get the roadways open, and we'll work with our state partners, Governor Scott and Florida Division of Emergency Management, to try to get in and restore, power as quickly as we can. But people have to understand that we can't just make the lights flip back on, and it takes a concerted effort from the local governments all the way up.
So what I'm hearing you say is we're talking about as upwards of 5 million, 6 million possibly people without power for weeks at a time. Talk about the health aspects. I mean, there are a lot of elderly people in the state of Florida, and we're talking about no power. I mean, what will be the situation for those folks?
So my job as the coordinator of FEMA is basically to coordinate a unified effort across the federal government, and that's what you see behind us. So part of the effort here, we have HHS in the room. We have what's called Emergency Support Function 8 that is directly working with Governor Scott and his team to identify any health and medical issues that are there. We've already been pre-positioning teams to go in and trying to support their needs to meet those demands. You're exactly right. We also have an Office of Disability Coordination coordination that works with functional and access needs and trying to meet the needs and provide a standard of care for all citizens that they deserve.
I want to talk about the storm overall. What are you seeing now? I mean, I spoke to you earlier this morning. Now we're hours later. The storm is closer to the United States. Give me a big picture, bird's eye view of the operation here and what your biggest concern is right now.
Well, right now, unfortunately, people in the Keys, anybody that stayed behind, the time to evacuate is basically running out. A lot of people in Southwest Florida and Southern Florida, should be making their final preparations and getting into the shelters or getting to a safe location that can withstand the winds out of the storm surge area into a facility that can handle the forecasted winds, for that area. And the bottom line is it starts to encroach. We start to, estimate and understand where our resources are going to be needed to support Governor Scott's response and recovery missions, and we'll stand by to be able to support as information comes in.
So are you shifting resources in real time right now? I mean, as this storm now continues to inch towards the west?
Most of the commodities, life-sustaining commodities like food and water have already been pre-staged. Now we are also working with like disaster medical teams and power crews to be able to pre-stage them. But the problem with this is that you can't move everything in and expose it to the storm or to the system. So there's going to be a time lapse there. We have to wait for the system to get out. We have to be able to build not only pathways, through the infrastructure to get back in, but then we also are working with our DoD partners to establish airlift pathways as well for commodities and teams to get in as well, particularly to the South Florida area. Yeah.
Administrator Brock, thank you so much.
Renee.
I'm going to send it back to you, Anderson.
Renee, to hear about that number of people potentially without power for days and days, if not weeks. And again, as you importantly pointed out, a lot of elderly residents in Florida really are going to be affecting them. That's something we'll obviously be tracking a lot. A lot of folks are going to be in need throughout the state, and I think that's important to remember. As many people today have seen the storm shift to the west coast here, around Fort Myers, below in Naples, even up to Tampa, where storm surge may be 5 to 8 feet, according to the latest modeling at 11 a.m. this morning. This is a statewide event, and in fact a multi-state event. We're obviously going to continue to be covering for quite some time. We're going to take a short break and we'll be back in a moment.
We are not here to sit idly by. We are here to leave a mark. Experience a shift in the natural order. Experience amazing.
We believe in rock and roll. We believe in blasting it down the fairway, turning up the heat and the fun. At Del Webb, we believe in life well led, in your own beautiful, smartly designed home, in an active adult community with sushi eaters, artists, thrill seekers, and you. We believe you'll like it here.
We needed to hire someone, but it was really tough finding people that had the right experience.
I was spending half my day just reading resumes.
To hire great people, go to ZipRecruiter.com and post to over 100 of the web's leading job boards with one click. Then easily select the best candidates from one list.
I'm seeing a lot more candidates with the right experience.
We have gotten consistently better results from ZipRecruiter than anywhere else.
Over 1 million businesses have already used ZipRecruiter. Try it for free today at ZipRecruiter.com/fast.
When only the best will do, Tempur-Pedic delivers. Tempur material provides up to twice as much pressure-relieving power, so you wake up feeling like a champion. Through September 17th, save up to $500 on select adjustable sets. Tempur-Pedic sleep is power.
To most, he's Phil Mickelson, pro golfer. To me, he's, well, Dad. So when his joint pain from psoriatic arthritis got really bad, it scared me. And what could that pain mean?
Joint pain could mean joint damage. Enbrel helps relieve joint pain and helps stop further damage. Enbrel may lower your ability to fight infections, serious, sometimes fatal events, including infections, tuberculosis, lymphoma, other cancers, nervous system and blood disorders, and allergic reactions have occurred. Tell your doctor if you've been someplace where fungal infections are common, or if you're prone to infections, have cuts or sores, have had hepatitis B, have been treated for heart failure, or if you have persistent fever, bruising, bleeding, or paleness. Don't start Enbrel if you have an infection like the flu.
Since Enbrel, Dad's back to being Dad.
Visit Enbrel.com and use the joint damage simulator to see how your joint damage could be progressing.
Ask about Enbrel. Enbrel. FDA approved for over 14 years.
Day 13. If only this were as easy as saving $600 when you switch to Progressive. Winds stirring, too treacherous for a selfie. Sure, I've taken discounts to new heights with Safe Driver and paperless billing, but the price at the top is worth every last breath. Here we go. Got him. Wait a minute. Whole wheat waffles?
Mary and Shirley both need oxygen. Shirley lost her freedom the day she went on oxygen, but Mary has the brand new ultra-compact Inogen 1 G4 oxygen concentrator from Inogen. It's the smallest and lightest model we've ever made. Shirley is forced to miss out on everyday activities. Mary fully enjoys her life. Shirley has to wait for tank deliveries and worries about running out of oxygen. But Mary's Inogen 1 G4 makes its own oxygen, so she'll always have the oxygen she needs anytime, anywhere. Shirley finally listened to Mary and now has more freedom too. It's time for you to reclaim your freedom and independence with the Inogen 1 G4. Act now to start your 30-day risk-free trial. This is a limited-time offer, so don't wait and don't accept substitutions. The sooner you call, the sooner you can say goodbye to heavy oxygen tanks for good and reclaim the freedom and independence you deserve. Call now for your 30-day risk-free trial.
Call 800-488-1709.
And welcome back to our live coverage, continuing coverage of Hurricane Irma. Looking at a live picture there from Hollywood, Florida, where you see some of those, some palm trees swaying, some just, again, very small sense of what is to come in the hours, in the night, and the day ahead. Remember, this is not something that's just going to be passing by in an hour or two. This is going to be a multi-hour event, really, from early morning all the way through tomorrow. We, of course, have correspondents all throughout the region. I want to go to Kyung La, who's standing by in Miami Beach. Given the weather today, Kyung, and the fact that this has become more of a west, that the storm has moved further, or at least the eye has moved further to the west, I'm wondering, are you seeing a lot of people just kind of walking around today around Miami Beach? Are people kind of tired of being inside, given the fact that, you know, the rain hasn't been that bad? Obviously, the winds haven't been that bad yet.
It's actually astonishing. We're seeing people still walk around. We're in the middle of one of the stronger bands that we felt in all day. And again, as you mentioned, Anderson, just a prelude to what we anticipate we'll see later tonight into tomorrow. But people are still walking around. That is a huge concern as you see some of these winds whip these palm trees around, and some of these hotels and businesses blocked off from the wind and the water. What we heard from the fire department is that they are concerned because that eye is shifting west, that people will become overconfident, that they'll stay out, that people who may have gone to Miami further inland are going to come back to the beach because we're right near the ocean. The storm surge is still in effect, and the Miami Beach Police Department, trying to underscore what's happening here, put out a curfew, and they underscored that by saying from 8 p.m. tonight till 7 a.m. tomorrow, if you are out here in Miami Beach, you are subject to arrest. And the reason why is the storm surge is still in effect. This is an area that floods. They are concerned that people who are walking around, that when the surge comes in, that they could simply drown and that they won't have anyone here to rescue them. So that fear of overconfidence, that people may start to wander out, as you say, Anderson, that is a very big concern here. Anderson?
Yeah, but, you know, as I said earlier, I mean, I know people who evacuated Miami in order to go and ended up in Tampa, and now throughout the day have been wondering, well, should I go back to Miami, given that it looks like the eye of this storm is going to be much more here to the west. And again, those are the kind of decisions that people across the state are having to make. Whether to stay, whether to go to a shelter, whether to just kind of stay at home or go to a friend's house that may be at a higher elevation. A lot to consider, even in the hours